Everybody ready? All right, great. So I need everyone sitting down that's close by. And if you guys can be quiet, because the parrot that I have today actually does a trick. He dances, but if you're very loud, he's not going to do it. Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. So the parrot I have actually does dance, but if it's very loud in here, he'll be too shy, okay? So I'm going to start with the parrot. So this parrot here, he's a little bit shy, and the reason why is because all the animals I brought today are actually wild animals. Even though they're my pets, they are wild animals. We've been keeping dogs and cats and horses and cows and goats as animals, companion animals or herd animals for a very long time, okay? And so over time they become domesticated and used to people. All these animals are wild animals, and this parrot here is a Congo African gray. He's from Central Africa, and he's what's called a prey animal. So that means that in the wild he gets hunted. We're very lucky. We might worry about mosquitoes and ticks. We might worry about crossing the street safely. But if you walk out to your car right now, you don't have to worry about a lion attacking you and eating you, right? We're pretty lucky. So all these animals are still wild animals, and in the wild they have to worry about finding their food and staying safe. So this parrot here, he's called a Congo African gray. He's about 21 years old, and he can live 50 to 60 years. Now the neat thing about these parrots is they do learn to talk and make sound effects. They're very intelligent. And the neat thing is the scientist named Dr. Pepperberg studied these parrots. So these parrots have been studied because they can learn to talk. It's pretty amazing what you can learn from an animal when they can actually communicate with you. So they would learn to spell, they can learn to count, they can learn what colors are and what things are made of. They've discovered that they're as smart as a 2 to 5-year-old human child. So Totally here, he's a little bit shy because even though he's a relatively large bird, he's much smaller than all of you, right? Now if you notice, when you look at people, our eyes are on the front of our face, right? Animals that have the eyes on the front of their face are hunters. Our eyes help us judge distance so we know how far away something is. Look at his eyes. They're on the side of his head. Now that means that he uses his eyes to make sure he can see almost all the way behind him. So if an animal tries to sneak up on him in the wild, he can fly away and get away, okay? Now, he does dance. Scientists have discovered that even though there's lots of videos of animals dancing, it's just time, movement, and music. The only animals besides humans that know how to dance are parrots. They can slow down their dance for a slow song or speed it up for a fast song. So he does dance. Now when he dances, he likes to sing his name afterwards. So I have some treats for him that he likes. He sings his name after he dances. Okay. You guys ready? Okay. We'll see if we can get him to dance. He might be a little scared because everyone's still being very loud. I'll come around behind here so everyone can see. Lovely. Can you dance? Can you dance? Good. He's probably not going to dance. He's a little too shy. Okay. Come here, Coco. It's very loud in here. Come here, Coco. Can you dance? Dance. Good bird. Now I give him a treat. You guys see that? and talk, but you have to realize that as a prey animal, he doesn't want to draw attention to him. Imagine that you were going for a walk and you saw grizzly bears. Would you try to be quiet and hope they didn't notice you? So that's what he's going to do. When he wants attention, that's when he makes the most noise. Now, do you guys have chores at home? You have some jobs you need to do? All these animals actually have a job in the wild that they need to do. They all have jobs that help keep their ecosystem healthy, and he has jobs. So one of his jobs when he's eating seeds or nuts or fruits with seeds in them, some of those seeds or nuts are going to drop on the ground and grow into new trees or bushes. And when he's eating fruits with large seeds, he'll just toss out the seeds and let them grow. But what if he eats a fruit with a little tiny seed in it? Do you know that there are special seeds that are designed to be eaten and pooped out later? Funny, imagine a bird eating a banana. Who here likes to eat bananas? They're delicious. Did you know when you eat bananas, you're actually eating a lot of banana seeds? You don't see them, they're little tiny brown dots inside the banana. They're so tiny. And you're actually eating banana seeds, and those little tiny seeds are strong enough to go through your stomach. So if a bird like him eats a banana, and they fly away and poop, they're planting new banana trees. So those seeds are actually designed to be pooped out, to grow into new plants. Now, the other job he does is he will chew on trees and prune the trees and cut them back. But guess what the worst job in the world he could ever have? The worst job, worse than taking out the garbage, worse than cleaning out the kitty litter, is being someone's dinner. Now you have to remember that there are predators that eat other animals, and so when those other animals get eaten, they're doing the job of being someone's dinner. And a lot of people say, why do we have mosquitoes? They're so annoying. And they are, I'm not afraid of mosquitoes, but they're actually important. Mosquitoes are food for bats and birds and frogs and toads and fish. So every animal has an important use in the ecosystem, okay? Now, Toby, like I said, is 21. He can live 50 or 60 years. So he can live a very long time. He actually came from a parrot rescue. Just like there are dogs and cats that need homes, there are parrots and tortoises and snakes and hamsters. There's all kinds of animals that need homes, and you can get from rescue. So he came from a parrot rescue named Phoenix Landis. Because he lived so long, it's hard to keep a pet that long. All right, so now we're going to meet another animal from Africa, and she is called an African pygmy hedgehog. So the word pygmy just means small, okay? She's much smaller than her European cousins. Now, her defense is to ball up and hide her ears and her nose and her belly, and when she figures out it's safe, she'll come back out. But this piggly ball of quills, imagine an animal trying to bite that. Ouch. It hurts. These are very special hairs that are very thick and very hard and pointy. So it protects her from predators. If they try to paw at her, eat her, they hurt. Now they don't shoot out. They don't stick in an animal's skin, but they are very painful when they're sticking out like that. Now, she doesn't want a predator messing with her. She would prefer to run away and find somewhere to hide. A hole, a crack, a burrow, somewhere. And her body's very flexible. She can squeeze her body into a little tiny crack. Once I had one squeeze under my refrigerator. And then they can ball up again and not fit out that crack. If an animal sticks their paw in there to pull her out, ouch, it hurts. So that protects her from being eaten, because badgers and wild dogs they try to eat them in Africa. Now she's nocturnal, so I had to wake her up to bring her. She doesn't mind. And she has a really important job where she's from. She loves to eat bugs. Who likes to eat bugs? Not very many people like to eat bugs. But animals that eat bugs are really important because do we have a lot of bugs in this world? Yeah, so she makes sure there aren't too many bugs. She likes to eat crickets and grasshoppers and beetles and caterpillars and cockroaches. So she'll eat them so there aren't too many. Now her name is Thumbelina and she's about 4 years old. She can only live to be about 5 or 6 years old. They don't live very long. But if you don't have a long life, it means you have to grow up very quickly. These guys leave their moms at 2 months old and go out on their own looking for bugs. Now these quills are very special hair. Hair and fingernails are made of keratin, so they're very hard and burn deep. So this helps protect her. But she is a mammal, just like us. She has hair and fur. She nurses her babies. But she also has a very nice sense of smell. Do you see her nose? Her nose is like a dog nose. It's cold and wet. And the smells can float and stick to her nose. And she can smell out where the bugs are. Okay? Now if she smells something new and interesting and different, she does something very peculiar. She might lick it. And then chew on it. And then get a big foamy ball of saliva and her quill with her long tongue and paint that smell on her quill. It's pretty much perfume. So she'll smell like her surroundings. Okay? But she doesn't want animals to smell her and find her that might eat her, and she doesn't want all the bugs to know she's coming. Now she is an omnivore. She doesn't just eat bugs. She'll eat some little fruits and things as well. These guys have 1 to 6 babies, and they nurse them until they leave home once they grow their teeth and can catch their own food. Did you have a question? What? Yeah, you know when they're your pets, it's a little bit different. I give her some bugs and things as treats, but as a pet, you also give them a nice, good, high-quality cat food, and they run in their wheels at night because they love to run around looking for bugs at night. Yeah. What? No, you guys are going to pet the toucan at the very end. We don't have time to pet everything. Now, if you were to pet her while her quills are out, it would really hurt. But if they're flat like this, they just feel like a scrub brush. Okay? Yeah. I don't think I've tried bananas with her, actually. But she does like to eat like sweet potato and corn and watermelon. So they'll eat some fruits and veggies, but their favorite thing to eat are bugs. They love to eat bugs, and they have sharp teeth like a cat, so they can crunch through the exoskeleton of those bugs. Did you have a question? What? What age do they what? Oh, usually they have babies when they're about a year old. A year to about 3 years old. Yeah, you don't want them to have babies too late. Earlier is a little bit better. Now she has really big ears so she can hear really well. And she is nocturnal, but her night vision is not great. She's going to look for shadows. If a shadow swoops over her under the moonlight, it could be an owl coming to eat her. So she would try to run and hide from that. Now they're called hedgehogs because they like to hide in the bushes and they make little hog-like noises. They're not related to porcupines. Porcupines have a similar defense. They have quills. But porcupines are not related to hedgehogs. Porcupines actually are herbivores. Okay? She is an omnivore. Alright? Okay, I'm going to put her back in and move on to our next animal. Alright. We're going to save the toucan for last, so I'm going to move on to some reptiles. The first reptile I'm going to show you, before I get him out, I love to look at animal artifacts. Who likes to look at things like pictures of dinosaur bones? Very cool, you can learn a lot of things from animal artifacts. So this is a skull. This is a skull from the kind of lizard I'm about to show you. And the amazing thing is you can really see his teeth, which you won't be able to see when I get him out. You can see where the nose was and the eyes were. So this is from a Colombian tegu. They're very large lizards that live in South America. Okay? So this is a skull. And it helps you be able to learn about them. And if you look at the teeth, you see all those sharp teeth? All those sharp teeth tells you that they like to eat other animals. They are omnivores, but those sharp teeth help them crunch up bugs or mice or things like that. So this Colombian tegu, he's from South America. His name is Senor Lagarto, which means Mr. Lizard in Spanish. And he's a large lizard. Now, this guy has a lot of skills, okay? One of his skills is climbing. So you'll see if I let go, he can just hold on to me and climb because he can climb trees. You see these long nails and these long toes. He's an expert climber. He can also jump. Have you ever held out a tree and had a dog jump up to get it? This guy can jump up to get big cockroaches and trees. He can swim. And he can run as fast as a rabbit. When he gets going really fast, he gets up on his hind legs and uses his tail to support his body. So he's a very fast runner. Now this guy has a number of jobs in the wild. Population control, he'll eat mice. He'll eat mice, he'll eat insects, he'll eat fruit. He loves bananas, he loves eggs. But he'll also be on the cleanup crew. What happens when an animal dies and it's just laying there? Somebody's got to clean it up, right? Maybe bugs will eat it. He might come along and eat it. And remember, what's the worst job you could have again? He could be someone's dinner. People actually eat them in South America. They eat their tails. Okay? Now this guy, he has a really big tongue because he has a big head. You see that big fork tongue sticking out? It's a nice big tongue. Okay? So his tongue, his tongues do. Lizards and snakes do the same thing. They stick their tongue out, wave it in the air, and all the smells that are floating around in the air stick to their tongue. And then they put their tongue in the roof of their mouth. It's called a Jacobson's organ, and they can smell very, very well. Okay? So he's not trying to lick me. He's just trying to collect the smells from the air. And he is a very good climber. So let's have a look at his belly. You'll see his back is very dark. So when he's on the ground in the forest, it's good camouflage for shadows. But look at his belly. His belly's very light. So when he's up in a tree, you might think you're looking up at the sky or a cloud. It's very light. So a lot of animals have dark camouflage on their back and light camouflage on their belly. You'll also see that his belly is full of scales. Look at all those scales. He has all these scales on his body that protect him. They're very thick. The mothers lay the eggs in termite mounds, and when the eggs hatch, they eat the termites. And the termites try to bite them, so they protect themselves. But these guys don't even care. Their scales are so thick it doesn't hurt them. Now this guy's really smart, okay? He actually tries not to go to the bathroom in a cave. He'll climb the walls and I get him out to let him go to the bathroom. Now when he's swimming or burrowing underground, he's very lucky that his eardrums are very close to the outside of his ear canal, so he doesn't get dirt or water in his ears. See how he's a good climber? Now he'll use his tail to balance. See how he's using his tail to balance? Just like you might use your arms on a balance beam. He also uses it to swim. He uses it like a paddle. And guess what else he can do with his tail? He can protect himself. So if an animal is coming up and trying to eat him, he can tail whip them really hard with his tail. Okay? Or if an animal grabs his tail and bites it, he can drop his tail off, run away, and grow a new tail. Now it takes a long time to grow a new tail. He has to eat lots of the food, right? But that helps protect him as well. So this guy can live about 15 years. He does hibernate in his veins, and his skin sheds. Just like a snake skin, his skin sheds. Okay? Snakes and lizards, their skin doesn't grow with them. So as they grow, their skin gets tight, like clams that are too small. They get new skin underneath and shut off the old skin. Did you have a question? He's probably about 6 years old. So he won't get much bigger. The one cool thing about him is you see right here on his chin, on his cheeks, it's real big. The boys have downs. They're real big like this. You guys want to try to see his teeth? If I massage the side of his face, he'll open his mouth, see? Isn't that cool? And the neat thing about his tongue, one difference with snakes and lizards is he will actually lick his lips if you eat something yummy. He'll lick his lips. Okay? We don't have time for everyone to pet all the animals, okay? Alright, we have our next reptile. Now reptiles have scales and they are cold-blooded. So being cold-blooded, what that means, now I'm going to get a snake out in a minute, okay? Excuse me, I don't want to step on you. Now I'm going to get a snake out in a minute, and before I do, I wanted to show you his snake skin, okay? Now the cool thing about the snake skin is when they shed, it's all stretched out, and it's inside out. Just like if you were to pull off a sock, it'd go inside out, if it were real long. And the other really cool thing is, you can see where his eyes were. Do you see these two circles here? That's where his eyes were because snakes actually have skin over their eyes. So when they're slithering through the grass and the grass touches their eyes, it doesn't hurt. They never get dust in their eyes. They have to sleep with their eyes open. But the cool thing is if they're sleeping and an animal comes up, you have to go behind the yellow line, okay? If an animal comes up and tries to eat them, they'll see it, and they'll wake up and get away. Now this snake is actually from the south, in southeastern United States. It's called a gray rat snake. We have black rat snakes around here. And the interesting thing about black rat snakes is every time they shed their skin, they get darker until they're black. But this guy will keep his gray pattern throughout his life. Remember, we still have the parent here who's nervous about all this screaming, okay? Now this gray rat snake, you'll see he uses his tail like a monkey tail. He can hold on to me and climb. He can climb trees. There are some snakes that can climb and some that cannot. This guy's a climber. So you'll notice he has camouflage on his back as well as on his belly. Okay? He's a good climber, isn't he? So this guy, rat snakes and king snakes and milk snakes are all in the, you need to go sit behind the yellow line please, are all in the family of snakes called colubrids, okay? And this guy is not quite full grown, almost. Let's see if I can get him off of my, he's such a good climber, he gets tangled up in my headset. But this guy is very friendly. Now, because he's a colubrid, if he catches an animal, he is a carnivore. If he catches an animal and starts to eat them, if they squirm and try to get away, he will wrap around them to make sure they don't get away. But if it's something like an injured animal or it doesn't really move, he'll just swallow it live. Now the amazing thing is his jaw on the bottom and the front unhinges and his skin stretches and he swallows animals whole. So he can eat a small rat. So his very, very important job in the wild is population control. Now, if he were to get outside, like the snakes around here, and eat a rat, it'd be great, right? Help make sure there aren't rats outside eating your garbage or getting in your house. But he's also going to destroy all the parasites and germs the rats carry. Or maybe the ticks that carry Lyme disease on the rats. So these guys, they're not only in charge of population control for the animals they eat, but for all the parasites that could be on those animals as well. Okay? Now, these guys lay eggs, and when reptiles lay eggs, they're not hard like bird eggs. They're sort of squishy. They have a leathery shell. Okay? We had a couple of questions, yeah. I said it was a gray rat snake. So he is a rat snake. He will turn black like black rat snake. Yeah. What? Now, when a snake wraps around your neck, the reason why they do it is because our necks are very warm. Feel your neck and feel your head, they're very warm. If you feel your hand or your arms, they're not as warm. And sometimes when they squeeze you a little bit, it's just because they don't want to fall. Okay, they're just trying to hold on. But he wouldn't be able to hurt me. I would just unwrap him. He's a very friendly snake. And you'll see if you look at him, he has a black tongue that he's sticking out to collect all those smells in the air. And you see his pupils and his eyes are round and black, right? Now most snakes that have round pupils like that spend a lot of their time awake during the day. The snakes that have vertical pupils like cats are nocturnal. So it's a little bit different. Yeah, did you have a question? No, he is not venomous. A colubrid is not venomous. So he's in the same kind of snake as family of milk snakes, rat snakes, corn snakes, things like that. Yeah. What? No, he cannot eat people. You know why? People are way too big. Because he swallows his food whole. He doesn't take off bites like we do. He swallows his food whole and they're way too big. He wouldn't be able to take bites off. Yeah. Okay. Good question about the egg. So this snake, on the bottom of snakes and lizards, there's an opening that opens up. It's called a vent, and that's where they would lay their eggs from or go to the bathroom from. They have different body parts that lead up to that vent, okay? And their tail is all linked after that. Now, if we look at his belly, remember the lizard, how he had a lot of scales on his belly? This guy just has one scale wide on his belly. Do you see that? How he has lots of scales going down his belly, but it's only one scale wide. Well, I want you to meet our next animal. And with what you've learned about snakes and lizards, let's try to figure out what it is, okay? So we're going to put this guy back in. Now, a lot of people ask me why I carry a snake in a pillowcase. He can breathe through the fabric, it's cotton. If he's in a cage, like one of these cages, he would smash his nose up against the bars to get out and hurt his nose. So this is actually the safest way to carry a snake. Our next animal, I'm going to show you his skin first. This is what his skin looks like. Okay? It's a little bit different. And the neat thing about skin like this is you can see a pattern, but you can't necessarily tell what color they are. Most of the pigment is in their scales, not in their skin. Okay? Now this guy is from Eastern Europe. And before you call out what it is, let's look at some of his body parts. Let's be scientists and try to discover about his body. Okay? Now look at his belly. What do you see? Do you see a lot of scales or do you see one scale wide? You see a lot or just one? He has a lot of scales on his belly. Now, some of you that are closer, if you look at his face, you see his eyes and his mouth. If you follow his mouth, behind his mouth, just like we do. He doesn't have an outer ear. And if you watch long enough and see him stick his tongue out, you'll see it doesn't look like a snake tongue. And do you see this thing on the side of his body? It's called a groove. It expands and contracts as he breathes. So it looks very different than a snake. And in fact, this is a legless lizard. So this is a lizard. He has eyelids and can close his eyes. He has ear canals that snakes don't have. And he has a really long tail. Here's his vent. Look how long his tail is. His tail's more than half his body. Okay? So if a predator comes up and tries to attack him, he can drop his tail. He's called a glass lizard because his tail can actually shatter like a glass. And all the pieces wiggle on the floor, and the predator says, which one goes first? And he can get away while the predator is eating all the pieces of tail. So he is in fact a lizard, not a snake. So he likes to eat bugs to make sure we don't have too many bugs, but he cannot unhinge his bottom jaw like most snakes. Okay? And he does not have a forked tongue like a snake. His tongue is wider. No, they're not. Now poisonous means if you ate him, you get sick. He's not poisonous and he's not venomous. Venomous means he can bite you and inject venom. Yeah. No, you guys are going to pet the toucan, okay? None of these guys, yeah. How many what? Oh, I have over 25 species of animals I can teach people about. Yeah. No, you guys are going to pet the toucan. We only have time to pet the toucan, okay? So this guy is really cool. He's in charge of population control for insects, and they do lay eggs. They can live a long time. They can live 30 years. A lot of people do think they're snakes, but they're actually lizards with no legs. So he used to teach us that lizards and snakes have differences beyond just having legs. Okay? So let's talk about our fun toucan now. A lot of people think he's a baby or remark that he's very, very small. And he's a very small toucan. The largest toucan in the world is the Coco toucan. A lot of times if you see toucans on, can you guys back up from the table please? A lot of times if you see toucans on TV or in movies, they are very large. And I have a plastic model of a Coco toucan beak. So this gives you an idea of how large the largest toucan is. The largest toucan is a Coco toucan, and they're about this tall. They're really, really big. But people don't realize that there's over 35 kinds of toucans in the world. They all live in Central and South America, unless they're pets or in zoos. And the toucan that I have today is one of the smaller species of toucan. He's called a green Araceli toucan. He is from Venezuela and Brazil. And he can fly, but the wonderful thing about him is he is trained to be on a leash and a harness. So I can get him out and still keep him with me. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the birds behind me. You notice the parrot's been sitting pretty still the whole time, and the toucan kind of jumps around his cage quite a bit. He has a lot of energy because his diet primarily consists of fruit. Now we think of fruit as a very healthy snack, but fruit has a lot of natural sugar in it, so he's very energetic. And the other thing he eats is bugs as well. Now he eats small critters because he's small. He can eat bugs, he can fly off and catch beetles in midair. The big Coco toucan can eat little birds, little lizards, eggs, because they're larger. And toucans have pretty large throats, so he can swallow chunks of fruit whole, chunks like this. And if the piece of fruit's too big, or the bug he's eating is too hard, his beak's actually not very strong. He would hold it in his beak and try to smash it on a branch to help him break it up. Now the cool thing about his beak is it's serrated, okay? It looks like a knife that's serrated. You see the little ridges on his beak? It makes it look like he has teeth, but do birds have teeth? No, birds don't have teeth. He likes to play with my microphone. He thinks it's a bug. No, you can't eat that. He thinks it's a black beetle he can eat, so he tries to play with it. So sometimes he'll hold my finger and you can see the ridges on his beak. Okay? Now, remember I said the camouflage underneath might be light for when they're up in the tree, and the camouflage on their back is darker for when they're down low. So he looks like shadows and leaves. He's called a green Ericeran toucan for the green on his back. Okay? Now his beak's really big. If you guys were toucans, your beaks would be longer than your arms can reach. So it allows him to reach really far to grab fruit or bugs or catch raindrops if he's thirsty. And the cool thing about his eyes, you see those beautiful colors around his eyes, the orange and the blue? That's actually his skin around his eyes. Hold on, hold your question. That's his skin around his eyes, and it works like sunglasses to help him with the sun glare in the rainforest. Now, he has a bunch of jobs in the wild, making sure there aren't too many bugs, growing seeds to plant them, and pooping out seeds, right? Now, the neat thing about that big beak is it helps protect him. He can peck, but also when he's hidden in a tree, it makes him look like he must be a very big bird with such a big beak. Now, his name is Squishy, because he squishes up his fruit, and he's only 2.5 years old. He can live 15 years, so he can't live as long as the big carrot, but he has lots of energy. You guys want to see him fly back to his carrier? So he can fly even with his harness and leash still on, but this way he won't get very far. Now, he can warn his friends when there's danger. You see the red on his tail? And underneath there's yellow. I call it his red and yellow stoplight tail. He flashes his tail up and down to say there's danger so they can fly to safety. Okay? There you go. He's giving you guys a breeze. He is a very fast flyer. He has very short wings. Now the cool thing about these guys, when they learn how to fly and get their own food, they don't leave mom and dad. You know what they do? They actually stay and help raise the next set of babies. They help raise their younger siblings up. He's trying to plant, I think, dragon fruit and blueberry. We had one of those paper towels under. Thank you. So, he's trying to plant fruit seeds by pooping. Now, the interesting thing about him, I was saying, he would stay with his family and help raise his younger siblings to make sure they survive and to learn how to be a good dad. Okay? He would stay, and there'd be 5, 6, or 7 toucans all living in a little hole in a tree. You might think they poke each other in the eye with that big beak, right? But what they actually do is they fold up their tail on their back. And they fold their head over their back like this to sleep. So they fold themselves up so they won't poke each other in the eye when they're sleeping. Okay? Now the other amazing thing is that this guy, like I said, he can fly off and catch bugs in midair and take them somewhere and land on a branch and eat them and swallow them whole. He is a male, and the way I know is he has black feathers on his head. The females have dark brown feathers on their head. So I know he's a male. Yeah, you guys can pet him in a few minutes. Not yet. I'll tell you when, okay? I'll have you guys line up. You have a question? How does he do that? I was showing you that. He puts his tail up on his back, he folds his beak over his back, and he closes his eyes. Now the amazing thing about his feathers, they not only help him fly and give him color, they also help keep him warm. When it's cold, he fluffs his feathers out, so they'll form a layer of insulation. When he's hot, he puts them very flat. Okay? And now, when he hatched from an egg, he actually didn't have any feathers. He had to grow his feathers, and his beak was very small. He grew a lot after your behalf. Okay? Alright, so what I'll do is, I'm going to ask for, is there an adult who can volunteer to do hand sanitizer after they pet him? You can pet him, and then get hand sanitizer, and then exit this way, okay? Can you stand here? Stand here, and you can give them hand sanitizer after they pet. Go ahead. Just push it a little bit of the ground.
This one is up from here, right? This part? Is that from here, right?
No, he's from South America. Oh yeah, he's from Venezuela, Brazil.
They eat all the fruit, right?
Fruit and insects. Okay, get some hand sanitizer. Do it quickly. We have other people waiting. He's a male. This one. He's a green aerosol.
But in the picture they look really big.
Well, there's over 35 species. He's one of the largest. So he teaches people that there's all different kinds of
They grow bigger than this, right?
What?
They grow bigger than this.
There's 35 species. He's a small species. So there's others that are larger.
How long did you have this one?
I've had him about 2.5 years. He's only 2.5. When he was 2 months old.
But the African grey doesn't talk?
He does, but he's very shy.
You want to touch his feet in front of me?
Do it quickly.
There you go.
I get some hand sanitizer. Some hand sanitizer. Did you pet him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's very soft.
Everyone touches yes. Next. Touch. What's his name? Say squishy. Say squishy. There you go. It's okay. Yeah, you know some burgers have it's okay.
لا تعال
Asia!
حطينا فين؟ تعال نعم نعم واخر سواء لا يصلح